Before we start this trick, guys, let me just start off by saying I am not, repeat, not a magician. I don't do sleight of hand. I'm not that good at card tricks. This was just one trick I thought was so entertaining and amazing. When I watched it, I knew I had to learn it. This is like the only card trick I know. And I wanted to share it with you all because it's just such a cool trick. I mean, come on. The trick to not feeling cheated is to learn how to cheat. So, I decided that this wasn't a story about a miserable girl trapped in a house that smelled like medical supplies, wasting her life on a dying person she sometimes hated. No. This was a story about a girl who could find infinite beauty in anything, any little thing, and even love the person she was trapped with. And I told myself this story until it became true. Now, did doing this help me escape a wasted life? Or did it blind me so I didn't want to escape it? I don't know. But either way, I was the one telling my own story, so no, I don't feel cheated at all. Whoa, I did it. I haven't done it in so long and I actually did it. Whew, got it. Cool, now the fun part, explaining it and spoiling the entire trick. So, secret to doing this, honestly, the only secret is that instead of buying one deck of cards, you'll need to buy 2 identical pairs, because there are, in fact, 8 aces in this deck, not 4. And I figured that out just because after doing the trick over and over and over, and like, there's no possible way to do this without 4 aces. So, you need an extra... Where's the fucking other ace? And the thing is, if you were paying attention enough in my video, you could have probably told, because one of my aces has a stain on it. So make sure when you do it, unlike me, you get 2 identical aces, not one with a little stain on it, because somebody might actually notice that. But if you're quick enough and your hands are slight enough, you should be able to do it. So what you're gonna need to do, this trick requires a lot of preparation. And once you get your deck prepped, you do not want to shuffle it at all. So what you're gonna need to do is set out the 4 aces, the other 4 aces, and the 4 queens, okay? And what I like to do to kind of create more of a pattern to it, I layer mine in order from, spade, heart, diamond, no, spade, heart, club, diamond, for all of them. Spade, heart, club, diamond, spade, heart, club, diamond, just so there's some pattern to what you're doing. It's not just random colors and shit. The beginning of the trick starts off with you separating the deck into 4 piles, and the ace is going to be on top of it. But before you do that, before you do anything, honestly, this is going to be really complicated, so bear with me. To separate the deck, you're going to need cards. I don't know if you can see that, but you're gonna need some bent cards in there so that when you drop it, you'll be able to see the bent card as you lift up. Now, initially when I first did this trick, I had the bent card actually as being the aces, so the ace would be bent, but if you do this yourself, you'll come to see that it's actually quite difficult to separate it if the card is bent. The bent cards have a tendency to stay with the deck, so this isn't helpful when you want them to separate and the aces get stuck in your hand. By putting a bent card on top of the ace, you bypass all of this. So I decided to find cards that matched it, just so it would be easier to put it back in the deck like that later. And I'm like, what would match it better? You know, we got the aces, we got the queens, might as well get the kings in here. But the only kings you're gonna need are the king of spades, king of hearts, and the king of clubs. If I can find him, there he is. And the reason you don't need the diamond, I'll explain in a second. Probably can't see my kings, sorry. Trying to find the right camera angle here, and I have limited space. Okay. And so what you're gonna do, forget about these aces right now. Forget about the fucking queens, just forget about them. What you're gonna do, forget about this ace of diamonds, or whatever ace you want to use. Leave one of them out. I use the ace of diamonds. Leave all that out, just do with this. What you want to do is pair them. Okay, spade to spade, heart to heart, club to club. Always with the king in the back. And what you're going to do is not touch the aces. You're going to take the kings and bend them. By bending them, I mean taking the corners maybe 1 or 2 times, touching them. That's all you really need. It's a nice little bend. And it'll stay for a while, so you can do the trick a couple times in a row and the card will still be bent. So, do it to all of them. You see this, see what I mean? This is still bent after me doing the trick about 6 or 7 times. Okay? So what you're gonna do is find places in the deck for these cards. Try to space them out as evenly as you can. So I do spade, heart, club, diamond. You put it in the order that way, in the deck that order. So with the king behind it, the bent king, put the spade down on the pile. So I split part of the deck off and put it here, just a random part of the deck, about 1/4 of the way through, and put the spade with the king on top. Find another portion of the deck and just lay it there. And then you're going to put the ace of hearts with the king on top. For this part, you're not going to split it into 1/4 because this king is going to come in handy later on as well. So you want him actually on top of this. Put the last bit you have in your hand on top. Put the king and the ace of clubs on top. So the king of clubs should be on top, bent. And now what you do, you're gonna need your deck layered this way to do the trick. And you see what I mean about the cards being bent? They're splitting the deck for me. So when I stack it later, it makes it so much easier. And now for the very top of your deck, or as I like to call it, the untouchable part, because you're not supposed to do anything with that part until towards the end, you're going to need 4 queens and a total of 5 aces. The 4 aces and the 1 ace I told you to leave out earlier. And this is the order you want to put it on your deck. It's going to end up being queens on the bottom, 4 aces, and then the extra ace goes on top of all of that. That's what's going to happen when we're done with this. But until then, you need to prep it. So what you're going to do... Okay, never mind. Disregard. Sorry. So remember that king I mentioned, how it's going to come in handy in 2 different ways? It's going to come in handy by separating the deck for us so we can get this ace of clubs. But it's also going to come in handy because we're going to need to separate these queens out with our hand when we swipe and scoop up the aces. And by putting the queens right on top of that bent king, I just turn my hand to the side and you can see the queens split off. So when those aces were on the table earlier, when they looked like this, you scoop them up very smoothly. It just comes with it. And they're underneath the queens. So that's what you're gonna need for your final step. And so to prep for that, like I said, put all 4 queens. Wait, this is all 4? No, I'm missing one. Yeah. Put all 4 queens on top of that king. He will save you later. Okay? So what you're gonna do, now you have those 5 aces out. The queens are on top of that king. Take these 4 aces, and the first one you're gonna put down, which is gonna be the top of your little ace pile, right here, this card. For me, every time, like I said, if you find a pattern and put the cards in the pattern, it makes the trick so much easier. My spade is what I use. And what I do, you can kind of see, I bend each corner edge with the spade symbol. So I bend this corner up, and I bend this corner up. So that corner and this corner. Just bend it a couple times, and you're good. See, it's sort of bent. Okay, so put that on top. And on top of all of this, you're gonna put that 1 ace that you took out from the other 3 earlier, or the other set of 4, and put that on top. And so this is how your deck is gonna be set up when you start your trick. And now the first part of the trick, the separation. Like I said, the bent kings come in handy. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bent kings are gonna help you split the deck. Because when you drop the pile where the split is, you'll see the ace. And the king is here. I'll show you another side shot of that so you can see what I mean. Like I was saying with the kings, because they are bent, they separate your deck for you. You might not be able to see it, but see when I lift it, you see those little openings right there? Those are the natural splits that the king makes you want to do. It just works with gravity so well. So I'm showing you from the side what you're doing for your first initial trick. See? Keep the bent card on the deck. Same thing over here. Bent card is on the bottom. Same thing here. And then that's the ace that you're going to pull off last. And you're going to do that for all 4 aces. Yeah. And remember, this whole stack here, be careful with, because this is your untouchable stack where everything is in there in the perfect right order that you need it to be in order to complete this trick. So getting it down to where this doesn't slide around takes a minute because so many of the cards are actually bent in there. But like you might see in my clip, one of my cards slid around. It's fine because if you're watching the movie, one of Rachel Weisz's cards slipped around as well. Oh no, it didn't slip. She had a problem splitting it. Anyway, watching the movie, you can observe and see that she actually, by having that split, you can tell she had a card above the ace that was bent or something of some sort, so that when she lifted, you can see her kind of lift and then kind of hesitate and do it again because she knew she wasn't looking at the right card, her reference card, and mine, in this case, the kings. So this is your untouchable deck, untouchable stack, whatever you want to call it. But with the way you layered your aces, let me pull this back so you can see. With the way you layered your aces, every time you flip one of these, there should be an ace. Okay? Now this part's the easy part. You start with the pile on your right, the untouchable pile, and make sure it always, always stays on top. And stack them. Like I said earlier, when I pulled these off the table, I'm not sliding anything in them. I just need help lifting them because I have a fucking broken elbow right now, so I can't really work very well. So I slid them off the table. Basically, I just take them and you stack them. 1, 2, 3, 4 on top of each other. And then you're gonna separate them, like slide them out. Like I said, this whole part up here is untouchable, so you don't want to put the cards anywhere near here. Just put them anywhere. Doesn't matter, because you don't need these aces anymore. So I put them pretty closely together, usually in the back. And then you're gonna slide them forward. It's always the bottom card that's hard for me to pick up because I'm on marble, it's really smooth. If you're like on a poker table and you have that felt, it'll be a lot easier. So now you make it look all fancy, like, ooh, I'm just shuffling them. And then I like to do that just because it makes it feel like you're pulling the cards up to the top, when in reality you just have the 4 up here. So you put them all in there, you go whoop, and what do you know? There they are again. But we know why. 4 extra aces. And so when it comes to this part of the trick and you want to swipe them up, I struggled a few times. I remember the trick to scooping them up now. Just because I remember the trick doesn't make it easy. Remember that. Just because I know the trick does not make it easy. What you want to do, that other king of clubs I said would have a dual meaning or dual help in this case. For this part, you're not going to split it into a quarter because this king is going to come in handy later on. Separates those queens. So the king is still here bent, and I see that. So when I put my hand on the side, right here, it just separates and it just eases open just like that. And what you're going to do, the bent ace I showed you earlier, the one where we bent the corner, that's going to come to your advantage now. Now for the swipe. This is the really smooth part that you have to get down perfectly because it will make or break your trick. If you hesitate here, it'll fuck up everything. No pressure. Okay, so my ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace of clubs, ace of diamonds. Ace of diamonds. Ace of, sorry, southern accents coming in. Okay, so you've got those laid out. You can see where this is bent to give me some leeway room, some space. I'm not making coherent sentences today, I'm sorry guys. But that king I mentioned earlier that's really, really important is on top of this deck. Okay, because all the other aces at this point, the ones that you threw out, are pushed in and shuffled up. So those, you don't have to worry about any more aces in your way. You've just got the 4 queens on top of this king. And that's what you should have left of your untouchable part of the deck. But now, see, all I have to do is open my hand. Let me show you. I said to open my hand, and you see where the queens just fall? Because of the curved card of the king separates them. So all I do is turn my hand to the side, and the queens just fall. They're just ready. Alright? So now, once you have the queens down, and they're like this, at this point in the speech, you see Penelope talking, she kind of pulls her hand back for a minute to make a point. She's like, yada, yada, yada. While she's doing that, she's actually getting this hand ready by dropping her queens. See, I noticed, while watching the clip in slow motion, that her finger was in the deck. That's how I knew she moved her hand underneath the queens. If you look closely, you can actually see this happening. She's very smooth about it, but if you look close enough, it's there. And so, that's what I do. I like to learn her little speech so that while I'm doing the trick, I can say it. People are listening to what you're saying, they're watching your hands. So when you put these 1, 2, 3, 4 down, you're talking, you drop the queens, you scoop them up, and they're right underneath your queens. So now the 4 queens should be on top, and the 4 aces should be right beneath them. So that when you do that, you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4. So you drop your queens, scoop up your aces. And so the way you scoop them up, all 4 aces are underneath the queens now, just like the queens were with the aces earlier. And now it's queen, 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 queen. And that's the trick. But I know you're like, hey Bree, why can't we just scoop them into any random part of the deck? You can do that, but it kind of ruins the illusion. The closer you can get them to the top of the deck when you swipe, the more it looks like you're just pulling them right off the top again, which you technically are. Only thing on top of these aces are the 4 queens. So it's literally the highest point of the deck you can get them at. So that, as opposed to me opening half the deck and trying to slide them under, which is already like near impossible, just rely on that king. And you can just keep doing this over and over. By using that king, swipe up the queens, put down the aces. Put down the queens, swipe up the aces. I didn't do it right that time, but you get what I'm saying. Like I said, setting it up every time is a bitch. It's a bitch, but it's so worth the look on their faces. I almost forgot to mention also, the 2 jokers in the deck. You can leave them in there, take them out, whatever you want to do. I personally take them out just because I don't know why, I just don't like jokers in my deck. I don't know. I mean, it's all up to you. They're not going to interfere with the trick at all as long as you keep them out of the way of the untouchable part of your stack and your deck or whatever. Then these are just like any other card. Like I said, personal preference. So thanks again for being patient with me. I know a lot of those directions are really hard to follow, but watch the video, rewatch my video. More importantly, watch the clip from Brothers Bloom. You can find it here on YouTube, Penelope telling her story and doing the trick. When you memorize your reference video, you can see it in your head over and over. And all you have to do is apply my instructions and you've got the trick. No. 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 Fucking dog wants to ruin every single one of my videos, I swear to God. Okay. Anyway, what I was saying, I had the trick memorized in my head because I watched the movie so many times. I knew her speech by memory, everything. And I just played it over and over. So I knew what to look for when I was figuring out the trick for myself. So, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you all around. And like I said, I'm sorry. You may not see many other card tricks from me, if any. And like I said before, I'm not a magician. I don't do this as a hobby. It's just this one trick I know. So thanks again. Till next time.